Hello, chat. I'm not sure if I'm live yet, but yeah, YouTube says I'm live, and hello everyone, and hi from Wijk. It's quite chilly here. Yeah, I see myself, so I guess I'm live, and I hope the audio and the video is fine. I have only a single screen, so bit handicapped here. You can let me know if my audio and video is fine. Hi, hi Bob, hi Shan, Papita, Manaswi. Uh, good to be back. And the picture of playing chess with the dog is beautiful. It was taken in Sochi. It was when I went on this hike for this video with Nemo. So yeah, that's where it was from. Vike is pretty chilly here. I mean, it's not so chilly. It's not as cold as Almaty, and the temperature is about 0 to 10. But it does rain a lot and extremely windy. So that's a problem, even today when going to the game, it was raining, and there's a bit of water logging on the road. Not so much, but enough to get into your socks, which can be pretty unpleasant if you're going to the game and you don't have anything to change. And yeah, that's the pain point. And aside from that, I'm having a bit of pain in my neck since coming here, but it feels a bit more today from the morning. It's not like Faroe. It is a bit like Faroe Islands. Vacancy is a bit like Faroe Islands, but it's not as bad as Faroe Islands in the sense that there is a bit more light out here. So right now there is some light. It's not totally dark. In the winter months of Faroe, it's 6 months of darkness. Well, relatively 0 degrees is not that chill, considering that it can go to -20, -30, -40 in places where humans live, and it could go worse. So, relatively, it's not so bad, but uh, also compared to how it was in Almaty, it's a lot better out here. I'm getting sleep. Yeah, I'm getting pretty decent sleep. It's not bad at all. Can't complain. And how's everything with you, chat? What's up? How has the Tata Steel been so far? The Vacancy up to your expectations? Um, Less than your expectations? Has it been fun so far? Have you been following? Let's have a look at what went yesterday. Ah, yeah, the picture from the thumbnail is from Faroe Islands. Yes, it's not from Sochi. The Sochi profile picture is a different one. That's also my profile picture in a few places, but yeah, the thumbnail is from the Faroe Islands. Yeah, it's from the Faroe Islands. It's a beautiful place in the summer. You have like 20 hours of sunlight, so it's always there's always light, and it's very pleasant in the summer. Very, very pleasant. Enjoying watching Arjun start. Yeah, Arjun start has been pretty solid. Let's have a look at how the games went, the results went yesterday. So let's move myself out a bit. This was the result yesterday. Arjun had a difficult draw against Wesley, so and Prague held very easily against Lemon with the black pieces. Carlson doing his usual stuff. He defeated Vincent Gamer. Parham and Dinglish. This was also a very interesting game. Ding was pressing throughout, but Barham managed to hold. And Anish Gukesh was the game of the day yesterday. Anish sacrificed his knight, he sacrificed his rook. He was pretty pleased with his game yesterday, and that's not something that happens so often. Gukesh has had a rough start, but to help you feel better, Magnus Carlsen, when he played his first Vacancy, this was all the way back in 2007, he was also barely 16 years old. He was born in 1990, Magnus. So 2007, he was around 16. His birthday wouldn't have happened in January. And he didn't score a single win his first Vacancy. He scored 4 out of 13. He finished last. And then he became a world champion. We all know how Magnus turned out to be. So this tournament is a very tough test, but it's just one tournament, and it's just been two games, so we cannot draw far sweeping conclusions based on that. Dinglation, yeah. So Anish won. Abdusatro tried a bit against Fabiano but couldn't break through. It was a draw. And Jordan drawing against Rapport. And in the challenges, which is actually also a very interesting tournament, here we see Vaishali lost on time in a difficult position yesterday. And Adiban drew. It was a topsy-turvy game. He was completely better. And then he blundered just before the time control. Then his opponent was winning, but AD managed to save the game. He did what he usually does, and he's just very good at making such saves. So it was vintage AD, and he drew this game. Amin Tabatabai and Yergas Pachak was a super interesting King's Gambit. White won a piece in as soon as 7 moves, but Karma caught up with him. I mean, he played the King's Gambit after all, and he ended up uh, uh, he ended up losing. Also, Eileen Roberts, this is a name that you might want to remember. She's also just 16 years old, and she's super talented from Netherlands. She played a perfect game to defeat Erwin Lamy, who is a veteran in this tournament. He plays every year, also a coach of Anish Giri, and he's a very experienced player. But Eileen was just perfect yesterday, seamless. She didn't get intimidated by her opponent and played superbly. Abhimanyu Mishra had a seamless draw against Ilmas Mustafa. So this is the update on the challenges. And in terms of results, the standings after round two, these four guys are in the lead. Abdusatro, Carlson, Anish, and Dinglegen. Abdusatro, thanks to his first round win against Rapport. Carlson defeated Vincent in round two. Anish defeated Gukesh in round two, and Ding defeated Gukesh in round one. Most of the people had one out of two. Half of the field had one out of two, and that includes Arjun and Prag, who have been solid so far, and Vincent, Rapport, and Gukesh trailing a bit. We also have the same similar situation in the challenges out here. Four people with 1.5 out of two, as if they're following the masters. We have half the people with 1 out of 2, and two of them with half out of 2, and one with 0 out of 2. What a pattern! It's almost as if the challenges are just following the masters. Yeah, Eileen is just amazing. She's awesome. Ding playing E4, new Ding in a new world championship. Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into Ding's opening choices for this tournament, considering it's just before the world championship match. But yeah, these people are capable of playing many different things. Let's have a look at how the games have been so far. A quick look at the games. Magnus Carlsen playing the London system. Now, my first course for Chessable was Catalan, and the second one was London. Now, who do you think Magnus is following? Whose courses do you think Magnus is following? It's as if he's just on follow repeat loop, and he knows whose courses to follow and which openings to play. As I mentioned recently, who better than Magnus to show how to play chess, how it's done? So be like Magnus. You can start with the Catalan or you can start with the London. Either way works. But not just the opening part. So it started with the London, and quickly going through the openings. This is the position that we have right now. Yeah, you can see the evaluation bar here. I think everything is open to you actually. So you have the evaluation gauge. We don't want computer analysis, but we want the evaluation gauge. So I'll put this on 0, and yeah, this is perfect. A typical Persian, maybe slightly better for Magnus because he can get some B3, he can get some knight D2. I have only one screen, so I can't read the chat while I'm talking. But yeah, I can see it from my phone. Delhi is the coldest place in the world. In a way, it's true because without centralized heating, it gets really tough. In Delhi, I wouldn't be able to sit like this and stream. I would have to like wear layers of clothing, and I will still feel cold. And there's something about Delhi's air which also adds up to the discomfort, which is not something I'm used to. In Arjun's game versus Prag, if Prag played knight g3 and trapped queen, Arjun had bishop takes check, then rook takes rook. Arjun is up plus for material, but engine says it's equal. Could you explain? Let's see if we can get to that. In the game between Gukesh and Abdusatru, Gukesh has a good Persian from the opening this time. There's no dark square bishop. The dark square bishop has been exchanged, but there is some pressure out here. So something like CD and there's pressure on the C6 point. In general, the white's pieces are better placed. This knight on E5 controls a lot of squares on black's territory, and white is just a bit better developed. There is more control, there's more mobility of white's pieces. It's the Catalan structure. Again, you know what the best people in the world play, which openings. Once again, a good model for you to follow. And Gukesh has just taken c takes d5, attacking the opening up the c file for this rook. If c takes d5, rook c7 is an option. It's one of the options, and he will look to not allow the trade of pieces so much, especially the rook trade. He'll try to keep the control of the c file. Strategically better for white. Parham against Anish, a super interesting position from the Italian opening and out into the middle game. This is definitely going to be an interesting game. Anish seems well prepared here. I'm not sure how much to make of the clock situation because with the 15-minute delay, it gets a bit messed up. Sometimes a 15-minute thing, sometimes it just shows minus 15 from the actual time. But it's been an hour, so 35 minutes, 13 minutes, 48 minutes, and 13 minutes for the increment. So the clock does seem accurate. And here there's pressure on the center, white center. So this bishop attacking the d4 pawn, the knight attacking the d4 pawn, the rook and the knight exerting pressure on e4 and d4. If you defend the e4 pawn with knight d2, then the d4 pawn is vulnerable because queen on d1 is protecting the d4 pawn. And if the knight comes in the way, then the d4 pawn can be hit. So this is the problem, and if white plays d5, then this opens up this bishop. It makes this bishop on g3 mute spectator, and there is pressure on the center. Some problems for Parham to solve, and Anish in his element in this tournament so far in classical chess. Then Fabi versus Jordan, something unusual and weird from Jordan. He seems, but okay, that's Jordan's USP in the opening. Just note that you cannot. I mean, look at this. This knight is hanging, but why doesn't white? Why can't white take f into e4? Like why isn't capturing the knight so effective here? Why not f takes e4? Why isn't it obvious? What happens if white takes f takes e4? How are you so calm without using with its app? Well, no comments there. I say it's not with its app. Um, yeah, Mo 18 Prague played e5 to prevent the complications, but if he played knight g3, he could trap Arjun's queen. But after check, so I think your answer would be found just by seeing what the engine says, how the engine responds against Knight G3. Yeah, that's my neck acting up. It's been under discomfort all ever since I came here, but today seems to be a bit more. It would be nice to have some pain relief, but I'm hoping it goes naturally. It just feels like it just feels like I have a sprain. But chat, why isn't White able to take F takes C4? Any guesses? Because I myself haven't quite figured out why exactly. But I think it's not something super complex. Black, because you might think that F takes E4, F takes E4 traps the bishop, but it might not necessarily be the case. The bishop has the B5 square, but the computer thinks this is still minus 1.5. So the answer is not that obvious. It's just 1 pawn for the piece, but I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, it taps the bishop. Let's open up the lines and see where are the lines. C6, bishop A4, and it just has to do with how White's pieces are completely undeveloped. So the rook comes into the game, rook f8, and there is going to be an attack against the king, but White's pieces will not be in time to prevent it. If you see the computer's line, bishop h3, knight c3, bishop g2. By the way, where is my camera? Okay, my camera is hiding the engine line. Let's make me a bit smaller. The OBS will be a bit crude out here, but yeah, bishop f4. This is just some crazy attack. Bishop h3, bishop and g2, and rook f3. You see the White's pieces are not just not coming into the game. So f into e4 is not a great option, and Fabi goes for bishop f4, taking advantage of the weakened e5 square, which is a strategic weakness. If White is able to place his pieces there and plan them there, then this is a good position for White. But it's unlikely to be allowed by Black. Black will have a lot of counterplay. Abhishek or Maheshri, why don't you compete in tournaments? I think you had a clear answer from the World Rapid and Blitz if you were following me and you saw me playing the Arjun Levon. Just seems like a standard position, quite symmetrical, quite equal for the moment, and White always has a little bit of play in these kind of positions, but it doesn't feel so dangerous for Levon. And Rapport Wesley is also an interesting game. Starting from the English opening, Black is a pawn down at the moment, but Black will likely be able to get back the pawn, and there's knight b4 coming up next move. But White will try to hold on with something like knight f4, defend the pawn, and if Black manages to get the pawn back, then Black is even a little bit better because of the bad pawn structure. But if White holds on to the pawn, then White can try to have an advantage. And Prague Vincent Gamer here. Here I like Prague's position. Also, coincidentally, Arjun and Prague playing the same opening. And what Vincent played, I guess, is not the most mainstream way of responding. This position I quite like for White here. There's better center. There's a lot more space out there. The pieces are White has the pair of bishops. The pieces raring to come out. White's pieces, and Black suffers from lack of space. So I don't quite like Vincent position here. and I guess neither does the computer. So this is the Tata Steel Masters round 3. Let's have a look at the challenges, which often has more interesting games, by the way. Yeah? So quick look from here only. This is let me see if you can see the positions. Yeah, looks good. So Abhimanyu Mishra, it just I think it's nicer for black because this bishop is blocked by its own pawn. The pieces are not quite coming out. Not also clear where the king goes, this side or that side, and black's plays comparatively easier. Donchenko, the beast. The beast started off with the accelerated dragon. I saw a tweet about this, but it's honestly not a great opening. And I think at the end of the opening, white has a really nice position, really nice position. This bishop on g7 is just stuck against its pawn. This d5 square is a massive weakness. White will just plonk one of his knights. Black cannot neutralize it because he has only one bishop which can control the d5 square. So even if he plays bishop e6, bishop into d5, the white knight stays on d5, and then white will exert pressure on this d6 point. So not a great position for AD out of the opening. Amin versus Supi, interesting Sicilian defense. It's a knight of opening, and black has to complete his development, but it shouldn't be a problem. So black is doing okay here. Black is very much fine from the looks of it. Still some problems to solve though, because the king is in the center, so he needs a few moves to complete his development. Generally in these positions, black can just play bishop e7 because queen into g7 will be met by rook g8, and there will be the g2 point will get hit. So yeah, this is slightly better for uh, this looks slightly better for black based on what Stockfish says. Practically a few problems to solve. If black solves this, then no worries. Warmer Dam versus Eileen, pawn up, but lots of compensation. Good stuff from Eileen so far. Lamy against Ilmaz Mustafa, again an interesting night off. Lamy doesn't play e4 a lot, so I mean, I think I should call I should pronounce it as Erwin. Where are you, Abhishek? If Adiban doesn't finish in top 3 in here, then what? And Beardson against Pechak, it doesn't look like it's getting better for Pechak. It was an Evans gambit this time. He has played two super interesting games, but this one hasn't quite gone his way, and White seems to be better out of the opening because the king cannot castle. This bishop is preventing it from castling. Bishop e6 is an idea, but it it's not easy to implement it because the c7 pawn would hang, and black's pieces are completely out of sync. On the other hand, black has two pawns more, so if he manages to get his pieces out, he can even get better. But that doesn't seem like happening. And Sindro against Vaishali it's a nice position for white. I think white is just better here because of this light square bishop being stuck, and the pieces are just. It's not easy to get the pieces out anytime soon. So the potential idea is b6 and bishop b7. White will, of course, try to prevent it or create more weaknesses like a4, b6, knight b3, bishop b7, and something like a5, opening up lines against the black pawns and also exerting pressure on the d4 point. Something like a4, b6, knight b3, e5, a5. This is nice for white. And this knight can sit again on c5. The pawn can support it with b4. And this bishop is restricted by this knight. So I guess that's a roundup of all the games today. And let's get back to. Let's see if there are any updates in the Masters before getting back. Yeah, not much updates really. just a bunch of interesting questions out of the opening. I guess the only thing is Prug is slightly better. Apart from that, all the games. Gukesh also has a nice question. It's also interesting how the Indian juniors are either playing white, all three of them, on one round, or either black, all three, one round, like yesterday. But yeah, that's the uh, first hour of the round three here. I will, I guess, sign off now and get some lunch. But it was nice. Will I be there on Saturday? I guess I'll be around on Saturday. Yeah, should be. Yeah, so that's the roundup, and I'll take a break now. It was, it's nice. It's nice to just don't go. I'm a bit low energy because of my neck pain. It is bothering me. Um, it is bothering me, and the camera is also a bit above my eye level. And looking at the camera, it gives that just gives that I don't know what is the word. It just activates the pain sensation in my brain, let's say. So yeah, that's a roundup of round three, and I'll try to stay connected through different mediums. I tried the shorts, I tried a recorded stream, and sorry, I tried a recorded video, and now we are out here on streams. It's amazing that shorts tend to have the most reach. It's crazy because it has the least content, but somehow shorts are just getting pushed like crazy in recent times on YouTube, competing with TikTok and Instagram. So the question from the question about round one, Gukesh versus Prag. Let's just have a look at it before. Sorry, Prag versus Arjun. Let's just have a look at it before signing off. Queen H5. Ah, okay. I see. It's actually a pretty clever question. Uh, Knight G3, Bishop D4 check, Rook F2. This is the question, right? And the queen is getting trapped, but the queen escapes because of check, bishop into f2, king into f2, and there's queen h2. So the queen escapes like this, and this is the reason why the computer shows it as equal. All right. So yeah, thank you, chat, and see you all. Go for a run. Yeah, it would be nice to go for a run if it didn't rain all the time here. But with the rain and the wind is usually at 40 kilometers an hour, sometimes 50. Um, Combined with the rain, it just hits you like this. It comes in this direction. So you can't even like stay completely protected against the rain with your face open. But yeah, um, see you all pretty soon. I guess sometime tomorrow.